Hi, and welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday night edition of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. And why am I happy and why am I smiling? Because we got one more week to St. Patty's Day, and as you can tell, I got my shamrock hat on. Yeah, so more than likely it will come off before the show's ended, but that's okay. But so Michelle, Kevin, Fat Girl, Patsy, awesome that you guys popped in. This is great. Truly appreciate it. So a couple announcements, of course. Thank you, Heidi. Appreciate that. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans for allowing me to give you two shows a week, Sunday and Tuesday nights. Hi, LC. Thank you, Kevin. Giving me two shows on this platform, UPRN Talk Radio, 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. Eastern. That's on Sunday nights and Tuesday nights. And so far, we got the Irish going for one more week, 7 days to go. And I don't know. I'm just like really pumped up for it. Hey, Leanne, good to see you. But just reminder that C.L. Thomas, my dear friend, her podcast comes on. Oh, the hell this happening? See, nothing against the Irish and nothing against Shamrocks, but I thought I'd just throw it out there. But C.L. Thomas's podcast is on right after mine, 9:15 Eastern time, and I do believe she has a great guest on. Something about African mythic or witchcraft, whatever, I don't know, because I really didn't get a chance to read the itinerary of her show. How do you like that word, itinerary? I don't know, I'm just in a happy mood. So whenever my show's ended, stick around and go over to CL's show and give her some love. Tell her I sent you. You know, maybe she'll send you some rocks. Better not have said that, she'll kill me. But no, welcome to the show tonight. We're getting pretty close to St. Patrick's Day, which means I have a couple more shows after tonight to talk about stuff from Ireland. And I know next week we'll have a little bit of an Irish party, okay, St. Patrick's Day party. I have to find a person who can help me put music up so we can play some Irish songs next week. I have a couple lined up already, 2 or 3 of them, and they're fun. They're popular Irish songs. Whiskey in the Jar, The Wild Colonial Boy, and it's called Four Green Fields by Tommy Macon. It's kind of depressing. In fact, if you look at all the Irish songs, they're depressing. They really are. Danny Boy, that's depressing. There's like 3 or 4 other ones out there. The Girl with the Black Velvet Band, that's a popular song. The Jug of Punch, But growing up in an Irish family, with we heard them songs all the time. And my favorite Irish group growing up was Tommy Macon and the Clancy Brothers. They there was a record we had. It was Tommy Macon and the Clancy Brothers that were live from Carnegie Hall. And we used to play that all the time, all the time. And I really enjoyed it because it had a lot of the Irish children's songs on it. And like we were talking about 2 or 3 weeks shows ago about the Wren song on St. Stephen's Day. That's the day after Christmas, everybody. And it just, even to this day, okay, even to this day, I will listen to. I got a CD now. Hey, Squats man, good to see you, brother. When you're out there looking for the Bigfoot dude, look for the little people out there, the little leprechauns and the fairies and all that good stuff out there. But I really enjoyed it, and I still to this day, like I said on Sunday, St. Patrick's Day, me and my family, we usually go down to the Harp and Fiddle um, in the Strip District here in Pittsburgh, and we have a great time. And they usually, all the time, play the old Irish songs. My mom and my son, they did Cayley dancing, and it's pretty interesting. So if you really want to know what Cayley dancing is, I do not know how to spell it, but it's like it's Irish dancing, and it's really cool. Just remember this when you look up Cayley dancing, it's always sevens and threes. And whoever's out there listening to this show tonight who does Cayley dancing knows the sevens and threes. Okay. Um, I was I have 2 left feet, so I really couldn't do it. But to sit back and watch it, watch the other people do it, it's just interesting. It kind of brings a heart, like a golden light around my heart. And I'm not bullshitting you when I say that it does. And when I listen, not even so much to the Clancy Brothers, okay, but any Irish, like the was it Irish Rovers and the other ones, just listening to the fiddle, listening to the drum, listening to the flutes. Oh my, it's just something. It just it takes you there. And every time you hear a song, every time you hear the music going, it don't have to have words in it. Just listening to the music, it just keeps you going. And you just feel pride that, the songs that you are listening to is what your family listened to before I was born. And it just gives you that sense of strong feeling. Hey, Kara, good to see you. So next Tuesday, hopefully, I'll get a couple of my friends on UPRN here to help me set my show up with some songs that I would like to play for you guys. You know, hey Joni, good to see you. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for everybody for popping in. And I want to thank all the people listening in the 160 different countries that my show. They're listening to my show tonight, and they're also listening to all the other shows here on UPR. Um, so I have a question out there for everybody. Okay, I have a question. Kevin, Joni, that girl. Do you believe in leprechauns? Seriously, I need to know. I mean, this is an open room. You could say whatever you want to say, but do you believe there are leprechauns? Because, you know, how shall I say this? I'm going to come out bluntly. Yeah, our song's next Tuesday, Johnny. Um, I'm doing okay, Tommy. Good to see you, bud. Um, Do you guys believe in not unicorns? That was my second question. But do you believe that there are leprechauns? Do you believe that they exist? I do. I really do. And what's crazy about it, and this is the truth, whenever I would go prospecting for gold, I would go to creeks, you know, which means I had to go into the woods. Hey, Sherry, good to see you, hon. I would have to go into the woods in order to get to the creeks, in order to pan for gold. And I'd be there doing my thing, panning and running the sluice, everything like that. And all of a sudden, yeah, unicorns too, Johnny. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like I keep telling every week, whenever I talk about it, I do believe Moses missed out on them unicorns. You know, I really do. Um, but there are times when I'm out in the woods panning for gold down by the creek. I swear I really have that feeling that somebody's watching me. And sometimes I hear footsteps in the bush or wherever I'm around. And there's no wind. Kevin says that he believes in magical creatures, so may well be. Thank you. Patsy says the unicorn is the official national animal of Scotland. Sweet. I'm telling you, Moses forgot them. He let them go. But to get back to what I was talking about, I would actually have that feeling to where I would feel somebody watching me. And I started to put two and two together, and I was prospecting gold. Okay. And you know what the leprechauns like? They love their gold, So, um, but whenever you have that feeling, like, and I'm not talking in your brain, but you have that feeling inside your heart or inside that something is there. I did. And I trust my judgment. And I said to myself, self, no doubt in my mind that they were leprechauns and the little people of the forest watching me prospect gold. And so what I would do, kind of scared the crap out of me at the beginning. No, I don't, Pat. Remember, she says, remember the leprechaun episode on Bonanza? It's so funny. I'll have to look that up. But I started to leave little gifts wherever I went to prospect gold, you know, and like food or, believe it or not, a bottle of whiskey. Just a little one, one of them airplane ones, airplane bottles. Yeah, and just leave it for them. And I left that gift for them because I figure that I am on their land. Okay. I am doing something on their land, and they're allowing me to do this. So I was always taught, when I first got into the metaphysical thing. Hey, Cindy Mitch. Patsy, I was stationed in Scotland. I was. Um, I was in a little town called Dunoon, Holy Loch, Scotland. I was there. But so I'd leave them the gift, and I guess I had some luck because the next time I would go to the same place, I would get more gold. It was pretty crazy. But what it came down to was that they showed me respect. They showed me respect. And in return, I respected them. And also, I would leave a gift for Mother Earth when I would go and pan for gold. Um, because I looked at it like this, I'm invading her ground, I'm invading um, her territory. So instead of being rude and inconsiderate, I offer her tobacco. And I don't get no luck out of her, but I feel better when I offer a gift, you know, when I give her a gift for allowing me to do that. So I figured I would talk about the little people of Ireland. And so you know where I'm going. Okay, the little people from Ireland. Okay. The little people of Irish folklore are primarily known as leprechauns, a type of solitary, mischievous fairy often depicted as a tiny bearded men in coats and hats. Hello, Ace. Good to see you, sir. A type of solitary, mischievous fairy often depicted as a tiny bearded men in coats and hats, rooted in tradition as shoemakers who guard hidden pots of gold. They are considered tricksters capable of granting wishes if captured. Well, I've been watching, I used to watch those. I know it was Augie. Oh, wow. Holy crap, man. Thank you. Wow. It's good to see you, my friend. Augie over there, Ace, right there. Yeah, he was in my group. We hunted ghosts together. Yes. Um, but knowing watching leprechaun movies and reading up a little bit of the leprechauns, if you throw a bunch of like pills or marbles or whatever, they can't attack you because they have to pick them up because leprechauns have major OCD. They really do. But they're tricksters and capable of granting wishes if captured. Yeah, but I don't know. And let me ask you a question, everybody out there. Let me ask you this question. If you saw a leprechaun, what would you do? What would you do if you saw a leprechaun? Good luck trying to catch one. But what would you do if you saw a leprechaun and you caught it? What would you do? Would you let it go? Would you run the other way? Would you say, "Where's the pot of gold?" What would you? I mean, personally, me, I would shake its hand. Ace, oh, he said, "Try for the gold." Good man. I personally would like. Kara says she'd love to talk to him. And Patsy says, "Ask if they needed anything. Can I have some gold?" There. That girl says, "Give me back the stuff you took in exchange for something sweet." This is great. And Michelle says, "I would say pleased to meet you." And these are all great. These are all great things that people want to do. Personally, me, I wouldn't want their gold. I just would want to shake their hand and say, "Pleased to meet you." And let them run off and do what they do. You know, um, I do believe it will be an interesting thing. Now, I do not know, I haven't read anything wherever the leprechaun will hurt you, nothing like that. But what can you do? I would say it was a gift from spirit or a gift from the goddess Brigid or the goddess of the woods. One day I'm going to have a show on different goddesses. But that's what I would do. Shake its hand and let it go. And probably leave another little bottle of whiskey for him. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But yeah, that's my whole theory on leprechauns, their appearance. Kara says, my dad's side of the family have a little point looking thing on one ear. Maybe I'm part leprechaun. I'm part Irish. It's very possible, Kara. It's probably that you could be part Irish and maybe you're part leprechaun. That girl says, or let me use the stuff you took and I need. Then you can have it back afterwards. You can keep the sweets. You're a doll. You're a doll. But the appearance of a leprechaun, while modern pop culture often shows them in green, older Irish legends describe them wearing red coats, they are described as being only a few inches to a couple feet tall. The behavior. They are solitary, rarely seen with others, and are known to be grumpy, capricious, and sometimes malicious if offended. So if you look at that, okay, I guess if you treat them like shit, in return, they're going to treat you like shit. I believe that. That's why I believe everybody should, even for Bigfoot people, even with spirits. And that's what I did when I did a lot of paranormal investigating. I respected the spirits that we were investigating or seeing. Kara says, explains why I'm short, grumpy, and introverted. Don't say that. Don't say that, Kara. But, so if you show them respect, in return, they will respect you. And I'll take that to my grave. Absolutely take that to my grave. The rule is known as skill cobblers for other, more social fairies. They accumulate wealth by mending shoes. Hence the gold, or a cig, or pipe, tobacco, gold, whatever. In the origin, the term derives from the Middle Irish I cannot. It says small body. They also are associated with a mythical race that became the people of the fairy mounds. Folklore today, believe in them, persists in rural areas and some modern infrastructure projects in Ireland, having been altered to avoid disturbing purported fairy sites. I believe I saw something like that over in Ireland where it was a fairy tree, and people said, you can't tear that tree down. You just cannot tear it. And eventually, I don't know if it was Ireland or Scotland, I forget, but they actually built the road around the fairy tree, which I thought was like really, really cool. Okay, and their relatives, related figures, including the drunken cousin, the drunken cousin. Wow, maybe my family, Kara, is a bunch of leprechauns too, but we're giant leprechauns. But it is at the bottom of the hour. Before I go on our break, I hope everybody enjoyed the first half hour of talking about leprechauns and what they would do. It would be great. I'm glad you enjoyed it, but we got to take that break. I got to play, some more promos here, and I'll see you in a couple minutes. We'll do this, and then we'll do that.
The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's start this conversation. Let's start this conversation. We got no relation.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the second part of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. Want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 Mississippi, 107.7 New Orleans for allowing me to give you two shows a week, Sunday night and Tuesday nights, 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. Don't forget, Miss C.L. Thomas's Gateway podcast will be coming on right after mine. That would be about 9:15 Eastern. And so whenever my show is ended, feel free, please go and give her some love and check out her podcast. And tell her I said hello, okay? And I'm sure she'll give you a big hug. But so back to tonight's show. We talked about the little people of Ireland. And it looks like nobody new came into the thing, to the chat room, and I'm sure other people are coming in. But what we did was what we talked about leprechauns before we went into the break. My question to you is, do you believe in leprechauns? Okay. I do. So if you missed the first half of the show, just go to my Facebook page or UFO Paranormal Radio, and you can watch the show. But now we're still talking about the little people and the Irish fairies now. We're going to talk about the Irish fairies. Oh, okay, Kara, thank you. I will definitely see it whenever the show's over with. Okay, I'll get back. Thank you for sending the picture. I truly appreciate it. But I really do appreciate it, Kara. Trust me, I do. Thank you. But who believes in fairies? Come on, guys. Come on. Who believes in fairies? Anybody out there? I'm sure you all do, but you're afraid to say anything. Don't be afraid to say anything in my show, in my chat. You will not be offended. Oh, Kara does. Thank you, Kara. I know my boy Kevin does. That does. Good. All right. There you go, Heidi. Yes. That's great. Now, see, look at all the fairies. What was the question, Kara? I said, who believes in fairies? Joni does. This is sweet. Awesome. Oh, doing dishes. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're listening. Doing the dishes. I did mine before I came up to my office up here. But Irish fairies, known in Irish as the people of the mounds, are deeply rooted in folklore as powerful, often feared supernatural beings descended from the ancient Tuatha De Danann. God, one of these days I'm going to learn how to speak Catholic. Not Catholic, Gaelic. Oh, sweet. I'm blushing, Heidi. Thank you. One of these days, I am going to learn how to speak and talk Irish. Oh, that's cool. Kara's son's talking in my bed playing the Switch. Sweet. But they are deeply rooted in folklore. I do have fairies where I live, and I'm not bullshitting y'all. Okay. I have a fairy story I would like to tell you. When my son was about 7 or 8 years old, I was separated from his mom, and I was living in an apartment complex. And in this apartment complex, they built like 5 or 6 different gardens. Okay, it wasn't fruit; it was just plants. So one April night, it was warm out, and me and him sat in the garden. We just talked, and then all of a sudden, we saw little lights flickering, like zoom, 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 doing the fairy shuffle. If you want to, yeah, the fairy shuffle. Ah, hey, CL, who's your guest tonight, buddy? That girl says I wanted to learn a Gaelic at Christmas song. Well, man, there's always this Christmas coming up. But MJ Dixon is CL's show guest tonight. And but so we're sitting out there in this garden. We're sitting on the bench. It was just about sundown when we saw the fairies doing the fairy shuffle. So these little lights, okay, were and doing the lights, and we're like, Paul says, "Daddy, what are those? What are those?" Oh, Grant, he's only 8 years old, okay, and I'm looking and I'm seeing all these little lights flicker all over the place, okay, and I'm like, okay, it's too early for lightning bugs or fireflies, whatever part of the United States you live in. In where I live, we call them lightning bugs and fireflies. And I really believe, in all my experience at paranormal investigating, that lightning bugs are spirits disguised as little bugs that, that shine their light. I believe that truly. But so the next day, I go out into the garden where me and my son were at. And when I looked down, I looked and there was a ring of mushrooms. A ring. A ring of mushrooms. And I was like, holy shit. Um, it was a fairy ring. And so what we saw that night were fairies dancing. And I was like, and it was really crazy when I saw the mushroom ring. I just got this chill over my whole body that was just unbelievable. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew. And at this time, and no, they don't stay and bugs don't stay in one spot for hours. But I just had this feeling, a calmness over me. And then right then and there, I was like, yeah, fairies exist. And you know what? That's okay. I always have. So at my house where I'm staying with my mom, we one night I saw a bunch of lights around the side of the house. Okay. And I knew who they were. The next day there was no rings, no mushrooms, but I knew who they were. And so that night I put out honey and milk. I mixed some honey with milk in it as a gift for showing themselves. But you know what? I found out that if you feed them, if you treat them right, um, they will protect your house. They will protect you. It's really, really cool. Hey, Hillbilly Herb. Um, and it worked. I just felt okay giving them the honey milk. Now, I don't know if the cats came and drank it or what, but I left it off for the fairies. And I also left off like gems, like little bright, bright, like stones, because they like bright stuff. So I did that. I mean, I was thinking of building a village, a fairy village, but I didn't. I just decided just to give them honey and milk. So, and Heidi says, razzle dazzle, yes. But the key aspects of Irish fairies, the type of fairies, broadly divided into trooping fairies. Trooping fairies are who move in groups, often seen as mischievous or noble, and solitary fairies who keep to themselves, such as the leprechaun or the terrifying banshee. Now, you know what? I think the banshee gets a bad rap here. I really do. The banshee gets a bad rap. She comes around wailing, okay? And basically why she's wailing is that because somebody is going to die in the family or wherever the house is at that they're wailing at. Um, but they're not bad. They're there to warn. They're there to mourn, okay? And they're mourning for the people who are going to pass. So I have no doubt in my mind that the damn banshee is getting a bad rap, you know. So they scream. So what? Um, but yes, banshees are good people. The only thing is that they're loud. Yeah, the banshee is a type of fae. Yes, ma'am. Yep, yep, yep. Now, famous Irish fairies. Thank you, Patsy. Famous Irish fairy beings. The banshee, a female spirit whose wail foretells death. Now, I'm going to screw this name up. I'm going to screw it up bad, but Leanne said he, a fairy lover who inspires artists but leads to a tragic end. Okay, a fairy lover who inspires artists but leads to a tragic end. Now, that tragic end, is that for, that fairy lover or to the artist that the fairy is helping? I don't know. Now, here's something sad. Okay, they're called changelings. Changeling. It's a fairy child left in place of a stolen human baby. That's kind of sad, you know. It's kind of sad, changeling. But I've heard this before. I have not read it, but I've watched it and listened to it on YouTube. And then you got the puka. It's a shape-shifting creature, often appearing as a horse, but also they appear as rabbits, you know, or other any kind of animal. Like I would like to say shapeshifter, and I think I have a bunch of pukas in my backyard that are like rabbits. Okay, are rabbits because we have like about 10 rabbits in my backyard. Okay, and they're not afraid of me. They don't run. They just sit there eating the grass while I get out of my car. And I really believe that one of the rabbits that I had, okay, that waits by I park in a pad, and there's my truck, and there's my mom's car. And this one rabbit, every morning when I go to work, that rabbit sit right by my mom's tire looking at me. And that's the truth. And then when I come home from work in the afternoon, that rabbit's right by the tire again, waiting for me. And one time I decided just to open my mind and ask him, "How are you doing?" The rabbit in my mind, okay, it's not my subconscious, but in my mind, the energy I got from the rabbit, okay, was like, "I'm doing okay. Just wanted to say hello." And then it would go off. It's crazy. It, well, to me, it's not crazy anymore, but to somebody, okay, to somebody, it would be crazy. You know, a lot of people think, oh, just, if you hear the little voice in the back of your head, um, that it is your subconscious, but it's not. You know, if you open your mind and you see an animal like a deer or whatever, talk to it, a bird, and just open your mind. And the very first thing that you hear is that animal that you're talking to is sending you a message. I'm telling you, it's the truth. Or I got another good thing. Um, yeah, Celtic and Gaelic are the same culture. In fact, I do believe that Gaelic is part of the Celtic culture because my grandmother used to speak it. Heidi says, open your crown chakra and say hello. Yes, absolutely. And just trust what you hear. Trust what you hear. That's the big part of listening to animals, opening your mind and actually trusting what you hear. It's pretty interesting. And then they have these groaks. Okay, they're small, furry, shy creatures that can be helpful but are often invisible. Oh, wow. That opened my eyes right there. When I read that about the groaks earlier, I'm thinking, holy crap, because sometimes I'm doing something and I just feel like something is protecting me. It could be my spirit guide, it could be a croak, I don't know. but a little furry animal. That's pretty neat. So yes, Kara says, I had a neighbor that accidentally ran a mow over baby bonnies when I was little. Only one lived to open its eyes and died about a week later. Oh, hon, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. But I ran my lawn over ground bees, and they had, it's funny, this is true, a nest. There was a nest, and I ran over it where the noise. And man, they came out swarming. They were angry. They were angry. Okay. And then they didn't attack me, but they attacked the lawnmower. It was fun. There was like 20 of them attacking the lawnmower. It was fine. I was like, damn, thank God I wasn't that, on the bad end of that. But the culture, beliefs, and dwellings, they are believed to live in fairy forts, ancient ring forts, fairy mounds, and under lone bushes, hawthorn trees. It is considered bad luck to disturb these sites. The behavior, they can be generous, but are highly vengeful if disturbed. They are often associated with the other world, a parallel idyllic world, and are most active during festivals like Samhain, Halloween, and Beltane. And the offerings, and like I told you, I learned it is milk and honey, are traditional biodegradable offerings left to appease them. And I did a lot of that. I did a lot of honey and milk. Sure did. And shiny, shiny things. But that's where I believe truly that the fairies do exist. And with things, um, with things that people are finding out, okay, um, I have no doubt in my mind that they're there. And this is the 21st century, and a lot of people have opened their minds to the mystical side of things. The, you know, Look at the Bigfoot, UFOs, dogmen, fairies, gnomes, leprechauns, the whole 9 yards. Okay, and um, and God only knows, or Spirit only knows, what is out there. But we are getting pretty close to the end of the time. But I want to finish off with the goddess Brigid. And like I said, we are going, I'm going to have a show on goddesses. And I'll explain um, Brigid as my goddess, one of them. Okay. And, uh, and my other one, believe it or not, everybody, Morgana Le Fay was my other goddess. And like I said, I'm going to have a show on it later on in the year. And then I'll explain why those two goddesses were with me. Brigid is a major Irish triple goddess associated with poetry. Hey, Joe Fox, good to see you, buddy. You're just about to make it, my friend. See poetry, healing, and smithcraft, often called the Exalted One or the Fiery Arrow, due to her connection to the sun, flame, and hearth. A member of some clan that were part of the fairies. She represents the arrival of spring, fertility, and inspiration. She is celebrated on February 1st with traditions involving fire, wells, and creative arts. Her key aspects are the triple goddess. She embodies the three aspects: poets for inspiration, smith for craft and forge, and healer for leechcraft, fire and light. Born with flames on her head, she is associated with the sacred fire, the hearth, and the sun's return, representing the transformation from winter to spring. Her patronage, she is a patron of healing, childbirth, inspiration, cattle, and smithing. Well and water associated with sacred wells. She is revered as a goddess of cleansing and healing water. So that's about, I wanted to bring Bridget up because whenever I am doing a show or I come up with a topic, okay, what happens is a word came up. Like I was doing fairies and leprechauns tonight, and all of a sudden, Brigid came up, and I said, "Well, I must have to speak on Brigid." So hopefully somebody got something out of Brigid. But don't forget, okay, what I'm going to do is show. Joe Fox, since you're here, my friend, you're about to pull the cards. Okay. Now, here's the card pulling deal. Everybody knows basically I do it, but for the people who don't know, I pull a card. Don't worry about being late, brother. Honestly, don't worry about it. I'm going to pull a card. It's an animal card out of my animal medicine card, and the card that I pull hopefully will help someone or um, help you on your daily path this week, and we'll see what happens. So, Joe, get ready, buddy. You ready? Okay, cool. So I shuffled, and I'm cutting, and the card I pick. Ooh, that's different. We talked about this. The salmon, Joe. Salmon, the salmon. We talked about it, but I never pulled the card up. So that's like really cool. The salmon. Yeah, we did. I don't know. Maybe we did. I don't know if anybody can remember. But as Joe's looking up for the metaphysical part of the salmon, why the salmon card was pulled, I will read it to you. Okay. And hopefully, Heidi says that salmon, I have heard the spirit animal card pulled twice recently. Okay. All right. So I guess we have to listen to the salmon again. Joni says, you are here and that's all that matters. All right, Joe. Hey, Donna, good to see you. So, Joe Fox, the salmon as a spirit animal symbolizes determination, resilience, and a journey of self discovery. It encourages you to confront challenges head on. You to confront challenges head on and to trust your instincts while navigating life's currents. So there you go, everybody. The salmon. And if you missed the reason behind that, because we're getting kind of late now, I got to get going here. But just look it up. As a spirit animal, the salmon. I want to thank everybody for listening to the show tonight. It was a great show. I had a lot of fun. And children, if you can, please go to your parents, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And if you have no parents, if you have no children, find somebody, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. Because those 3 words, I love you, go a long way. Don't forget, Miss C.L. Thomas's The Gateway podcast is coming on next. So at 9:15 Eastern. So if you can, just please go over there and give her a hug and listen to her show and give her some love. And please remember, protect the children, save the children. Until then, I will see you next Sunday. Good night.